This is TechVibe Radio, your front row seat with cup holders to Pittsburgh's technology and entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I'm your host. I'm Jonathan Kirsten with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. So, as the world races to address climate change, the role of industrial decarbonization has never been more crucial. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Igor Stamenkovic, who leads Eaton's Electrical Systems and Services Division for North America, to discuss how Eaton is driving real solutions to this critical challenge. In our conversation, Igor shared Eaton's innovative approach to building resilient, sustainable, and cost-effective electrical systems for businesses and communities. From their award-winning microgrid project in Puerto Rico to the hands-on demonstrations at their Pittsburgh-area facility, Eaton is proving that decarbonization is not just a lofty goal, but an achievable reality. Igor's insights on the 5 key tools for decarbonization include the likes of distributed energy resources, EV charging, behind-the-meter solutions, digitalization, and process optimization. These all provide a roadmap for any organization looking to take tangible steps toward a greener future. Most importantly, Igor emphasizes Eaton's accessibility and willingness to partner with businesses of all sizes. Whether you're just starting your decarbonization journey or looking to take it to the next level, Eaton is ready to help. So keep on listening to learn more about how Eaton is powering the future of industrial decarbonization. So Igor, thank you so much for being part of TechVibe today. At the Tech Council, we get super excited when we're talking to folks because we look up and look at the work you're doing. It is just meeting the future of not just the region, but what's happening here in the world. And the stuff that we're going to be talking about today, just around decarbonization, obviously is just so important. But before we roll into that, I got to know about Igor, and I got to figure out, what do you do at Eaton? How long have you been there for? And give me some fun stuff.
Absolutely. And Jonathan, first of all, thank you for having us. We love talking about this stuff. We believe in decarbonization. And as you're going to hear, we have some real solution and real customers that are really proving that this works and that we should continue with this trend. So my name is Igor, and I've been living now in Pittsburgh for 2.5 years. I've been with Eaton for 8 years, moved 3 times to different jobs. Currently, I have a pleasure of leading our electrical systems and services division for North America, where we have more than 1,500 very skilled electrical professionals in helping our customers deliver on their energy transition, digitalization, and overall electrification goals. I'm originally from Serbia, and I've been living in US now for over 20 years.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you're in Pittsburgh. We need more folks like you coming to Pittsburgh to do the good work. Simple as that. So welcome to Pittsburgh. I hope you're having a good time here.
Absolutely. I'm already a Steelers fan.
All right. Well, then you're in the club. It's all good. There's no worries there at all. That's fantastic. So let's jump into the conversation. So you recently delivered the keynote at the Reuters Pittsburgh event just last month. Time is flying by so fast. It was all around industrial decarbonization. Can you talk about what industrial decarbonization looks like and why it's important?
No, absolutely. So decarbonization can be sometimes a little bit polarizing, but topic. But the bottom line is that it really enables all of the business worldwide in order to continue growing at accelerated rate and to keep providing what we say, water and air clean while continuing to progressing with the growth targets that all of us require. So decarbonization in that sense really means we are adding much more electrical capacity. We are digitalizing our businesses in order to run them more effectively, with higher productivity, with more engagement from our own employees. And we are driving on the top of it energy transition and infrastructural investments in order to support that growth that we are really seeing across North America and across US particularly. If you have been noticing recently over the past several years, every business in the electrical industry is growing over 10%. And we are seeing incredible amount of need for this kind of electrification. So that's why electrification and decarbonization really goes hand in hand. And you cannot grow at this increased scale if your solutions are not made for this kind of a future.
Absolutely. I mean, first off, I go back to the fact that how polarizing this conversation can be, and it doesn't have to be. I think sometimes people just kind of pops in their head and they're like, oh, they get all upset. But it's like, no, no, no. I mean, I know at the Tech Council, we're just huge proponents around the fact that, of course, we need more and more energy, but there are great ways to do it that you can produce more and have a general impact on the environment and be smart about it. And that's what Eaton does. And I think about some of the work that you guys have done. I mean, there's just so many stories out there. I know recently you actually won an award for some work you guys did in Puerto Rico, which I thought was just absolutely amazing. Could you give me a few details on that? 'Cause I think that project really goes to show what you're talking about and how that you can do these kind of seemingly conflicting things.
No, absolutely. And it's my pleasure to share that news because I know that many of other businesses like Eaton's who have their plants and manufacturing capabilities in Puerto Rico have been suffering with a similar problem as ours. And that is, we have a very strong utility partners there, but with all the hurricanes and with the grid capabilities, we know that every now and then we would lose power. And that produces then loss of production, less engagement for our employees, and overall problems for the customers who are expecting products to come from that plant. In this particular context, we are manufacturing our very well-known Magnum breakers that are absolute necessity for any electrification around the world. So what we needed to create is working together with our utility partner at Puerto Rico in order to get the right permitting and siting, in order to make more robust electrical system that is kind of a behind the meter, and that Eaton and our energy partner, can manage with much stronger power resiliency, adding some sustainability to it, and effectively making it more affordable energy that is going to prevail even when we have like a very high hurricane. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is that a few weeks after we launched it, there was a hurricane category 5 happening, and we didn't lose a second in our production.
That's amazing. See, I hear that and I'm like, wow. Because at first off, you say
Yes.
Puerto Rico and energy, I'm saying it's got to be hurricane proof because we all know the headlines that were being made and with previous hurricanes and the suffering that people had. And to know there's solutions that Eaton can provide that are providing power and that they keep running during the worst of storms and how we know storms are kind of getting worse and worse as time goes by. That's really amazing to hear that, Igor.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, without a doubt. So first off, I mean, that's just like one example of like all the things that you guys are working on. We can literally talk for hours about all the different
No,
ways.
absolutely.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and Jonathan, let me maybe just provide a little bit demystification of what
Surely.
the system entails. So first of all, the whole mechanical structure has to be um, built in a way that can sustain Category 5 hurricane, because it doesn't matter how much renewable energy, for example, you have, if the hurricane Category 5 is going to pass through and destroy it, you're not going to be able to use it. Then we used our own Eaton's microgrid system. And for maybe some of your listeners who don't know what the microgrid is a capability, the control, kind of a grid in a grid ability for the any user of electricity to manage their own electrical system with the help from the grid, from the utility, or if the rest of the utility is down, to manage your own grid with the help of on-site generation capability. From the on-site generation capability, we have 5 megawatts of solar, we have 1.1 megawatt of storage, and we have 8 megawatts of diesel generation. So, in Eaton, we say that it's likely that there is no one prevailing energy source that the future is going to require. It's going to be the mix of resources, and how you manage it in a resilient way is really a key to success. And that is what microgrid is enabling. When the rest of the grid was down, we managed to use this on-site generation to prioritize which critical loads must be on, to shut down other electrical loads because they were not a priority. And that remained that all of our people that were at the site remained safe and sound, and that our most critical production continued to work 100%.
Yeah, I tell you what, the idea of having a plethora of solutions that all combine together is where it's all about. That to me is just amazing and very, very cool. I want to switch gears just a little bit and talk about how the fact that you work at Eaton and it's a company, as we've been saying, it's just widely recognized for its power management capabilities. So you got to tell me more about like how does your team help businesses and communities? And I can see this directly here in Puerto Rico how you do that, but I know there's so many other ways that you're out there in communities here in Pittsburgh, but also obviously around the world where you install these solutions. So tell me more about that if you could.
No, absolutely. I think that the first and foremost, when we talk to our customers about digitalization, energy transition, decarbonization, electrification, infrastructural investments, any of these topics really boil down to one thing. You have to grow your business and how you go about it. And honestly, there's so much um, uh, in the news and in the media that it's kind of a complex and hard to decide what is real, what is not necessarily as real, and how you go about it. So, in particular, what Eaton is doing is, in most cases, through our sales and services organization, which is the team that I have an honor of leading at this point, is we come to the customer and we discuss to understand what is their business objectives over the next 12 months, then 3 years, 5 years, how big they need to grow their electrical system in order to support all of the production and all of the work they need to do in order to support their customers, employees, and shareholders. Once we understand that, we can go back and we can create different options for multi-year, multi-level investments that is going to create that kind of electrical system that is going to kind of create three levels of value streams. The first one is that power resilience, so that even if the power around you is down, your site is still going to be on. The second one is sustainability. So this is really that decarbonization that enables growth to happen without jeopardizing environment and the cleanliness of air and water. And the third one is cost effectiveness. You have to, over time, make energy very affordable and improve the productivity for the whole system. Once we put all of that in place, we can also work with the customer to bring all of the governmental incentives, whether on the local level, regional level, state level, federal level, that can support in this kind of investment, because there is a lot of opportunities out there in order to support your investment needs.
You make it sound simple. You're talking about some very big, complex things, but that is what it kind of comes down to. And to make that happen to me is always I get kind of mesmerized by it, to tell you the truth, because I'm always like, whoa. And it takes people to make that happen, which I know Eaton's just got some fantastic teams. And I think about like just your presence here in Pittsburgh and how you showcase some of this up in Warrendale in your demonstration center up there, which I always find pretty amazing stuff. We have it like right here in Pittsburgh where you can see it in action. I think it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And if I can build on that,
Surely.
electricity is something that we cannot see. So, if it is not as tangible, it is maybe hard for everybody to understand what it looks like. That is why we invested a lot into having, at this point of time, two power distribution demonstration centers. As
Hmm.
you say, the first one is in Warrendale, Pennsylvania. So this is just like 20, 25 minutes away from the airport. And then the second one is in Houston, Texas, roughly 15 minutes away from the Houston airport. Over there, we are really having a lot of electrical solutions that can help any customer, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, data center, utility, or governmental, infrastructural, with any of their decarbonization needs, electrification needs, any infrastructural investments, any type of the solution that requires, for example, digitalization and ability to real-time monitor and control all of your electrical assets. Since you've been there, you're one of the people who can really be a spokesperson But I really want to invite everybody else who is listening. If you want to learn more about electrification and many of these solutions of the future that are available today, I invite you to just join us and see the tour for yourself.
I encourage it as well because it's kind of like going to the amusement park. You get to see all
Yes.
sorts of
Yeah.
fun stuff. And most of all, I roll through there and I say to myself, there's like so many cool people working on really tough solutions, and you can actually see those things happening. So to me, it's always kind of like, yeah. And we do a lot of that in Pittsburgh, which I think is pretty cool. And I think the Houston one's probably pretty cool, but not as cool as the Pittsburgh one, I gather, right? Just kidding.
Absolutely. Abs- Absolutely.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, I mean, can you tell me a little more about just like some of the strategies and tools that enable decarbonization? Once again, I mean, that's a really big question, but I know you could probably bring that down to a few kind of actual things so our listeners can really just kind of understand like what that means and how these strategies and tools work.
Absolutely. And that's what we are trying to do to really make it much simpler for people to understand. So we are kind of saying there are five different things that contribute to overall decarbonization. And we call them kind of tools that are available today. These are all individually mature technologies that have been existing for a while. But when you put them together, they can create these kind of a very meaningful and real results, such as our microgrid in Puerto Rico. So the first one are distributed energy resources, and they include everything from the solar storage, more recently, any kind of a hydrogen type solution. And maybe over time, we are going to see those micro nuclear as well that can be plug and play and used in the same way as we use solar today. The second one is EV charging infrastructure. Um, with EV charging infrastructure, it is really one of the most effective way to decarbonize your transportation system. And irrespective whether you have completely EV or a hybrid EV with a plug-in option, we are seeing that more and more you are going to have AC and DC charging capability
Mhm.
because your employees and the customer visiting you are going to require some kind of a charging throughout the day. The third thing is what we call everything is a grid. It's really Eaton's branding for all of our solutions that are enabling that behind the meter. So whether it's a residential customer or commercial user, industrial data center, work hand in hand with utility as a partner because you always require to support the grid, to be part of the grid, and then to have reliable and resilient energy, electricity, working together with utility on that. The fourth tool is digitalization, and it is really how smart you are about your electrical system. Do you have real-time data? What do you make of that data? And then is the data accurate? And then how can you leverage AI in order to really automate and make that data work for you? And then last but not the least is optimization of your processes. Out there, we have all different kind of companies. Some of them is more in chemical, petrochemical, oil and gas, data center. Irrespective to what your uh, background of the work is, there is a way to optimize and further decarbonize the process where you work with subject matter experts and then you work with companies like Eaton in order to decarbonize electrical system that is going to support those processes. So those are kind of five tools that we are seeing, each one of them very mature, existing for years and years. But when you put them together now, you can really create incredible solutions of the future that work today.
Yeah, I love hearing that you can use this today. So many times when I interview folks, I mean, they're working on really cool technology and they're like, well, in 5 years, we're going to have this, which is great. But I get really excited when someone says, we have all this stuff and we're using it right now. And we can actually
Yes.
demonstrate it to you right here in Pittsburgh. And we have the cool examples we won awards with, like the award you got for the power work you did in Puerto Rico. I think that's pretty exciting. And I want people to be able to reach out to you and be like, how do I work with Eaton on this? Like, how can I connect? I'm a business and I feel like I need to start decarbonizing. How do I reach out? How do I connect? Like, I know people think Eaton's this big organization, but there's got to be a door they can knock on and say, hey,
Absolutely. So I know that it sounds intimidating starting the journey. These are
Yes.
big words: electrification, decarbonization, energy transition. All of that can be very intimidating. Eaton is a big company, but either through our local sales office or just on the website, you can easily find the number to call us, or easily just like reach out to our demonstration center in, as we said, either Warrendale or Houston, and then schedule a visit and go from there. Any of these options are readily available. You're going to hear immediately back from us, and we are going to engage in your journey immediately as well.
I love it. I mean, that's one thing I love about being here in Pittsburgh is the fact that, yes, there's this behemoth called Eaton here doing all this great work, but you reach out and you're really emphatic on saying that they're going to get back to you because Eaton really cares. Like, you're not going to run into those walls. So I'm encouraging people out there, if you're curious, you're just not sure what the first steps are, call out, reach, at the very least, just make an afternoon and go out and get a tour of the power center, because that's just fun within itself. So I would encourage people to do that for sure.
Absolutely. And thank you. You and more than 10,000 people annually visit that center.
Wow.
And yeah, they leave much smarter after seeing how tangible electrification and decarbonizations are.
I thought I felt smarter when I left. Now I know it wasn't my imagination. Something happened there, Igor.
Great.
I need all the help I can get. But this is just, what a fascinating conversation. We love doing this because being able to put a spotlight on some of the work that a company like Eaton is doing is just so important to us, because we want everyone to realize that you're in the community, you're doing great work, and you're very accessible. And the work that you're doing it's literally changing the world. And you're winning some awards for it. So congratulations once again, Igor. I'm pretty stoked for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And as I said, I've been in Pittsburgh for the last 2.5 years. And obviously, I know what Eaton does because I'm part of Eaton, but I meet daily people who don't understand that Pittsburgh is really one of the places where we have a lot of experts that are changing how the world looks like. So I do
Yes.
invite Pittsburghers to really come and learn and, become part of the journey.
That's why I'm glad you're in Pittsburgh doing this. Sometimes it takes someone who's new to Pittsburgh to remind us here in Pittsburgh that there's resources here. And now that you're a Steelers fan, I mean, you're 100% in, so it's all good,
That's it.
right?
That's it. That's it. Yes. That
That
was
is
a
awesome.
requirement. That was a requirement because before I moved in.
Very good. You read the rule book before you came, so I
Yes.
appreciate
Yes.
that.
Yes.
That's awesome. Igor, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. What a pleasure speaking with you, getting to know you. And once again, we welcome you to Pittsburgh and hope you stay here for a long time and continue work with Eaton to develop these really awesome solutions. You are the best.
Thank you, Jonathan. It was a real pleasure. Thank you for giving us time to introduce how real these solutions are. And thank you for inviting others to take the same path as you did and learn more about these from a very real solutions that we demonstrate in our power distribution center.
Sounds like a plan. Hey, everybody, this is Jonathan Kirsting, of course, with the Pittsburgh Technology Council and TechVibe Radio, bringing you conversations just like this as often as I can.